If you are in the market for a shotgun that brings out a little bit of nostalgia while still giving you some modern additions, then you've come to the right place, because this is the Tokarev TX3 18-inch barreled shotgun with a lot of really cool features and upgrades, and it has a walnut wood finish. So without further ado, we are going to go right into this, starting out with the tech specs. Now, I will say they did not provide a weight length or some details with this that we're actually going to measure out, weigh out for you. So stick till the end of the video. We'll give you actual measurements, actual weight of the shotgun, and like trigger pull, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and start out with the tech specs. Getting rid of that box. You have an 18-inch barrel. Up top, you do have a green fiber optic front sight, which is very nice. You have a rear ghost ring sight. Of course, you also have walnut wood furniture on both the fore end and the buttstock piece of the shotgun. It is a pump action, as you would imagine, of course being a replica of an Ithica, and I lied, it's actually an 18.5-inch barrel, not an 18-inch barrel. Overall length being 38 inches. Now that's pretty much where it ends on the website here, as far as what details they're giving you as far as specifications go. So I will also add on, you get a really cool pick rail up top for any optics that you want to put on this thing to give it more of that modern vibe. And then we are going to weigh it, measure it, and of course test that trigger pull with an actual trigger pull device a little bit later in the video. So now let's talk about the gun tip to butt. So first things first, the tip. As I mentioned, you have that green front fiber optic sight on top of that 18.5-inch barrel. This thing is really cool. It looks really, really good, and it is easy to catch. Now, the one thing I do appreciate, it's gonna be hard to give you a good representation of how this looks, so you might have to take my word for it, but I should be able to get a different angle on it later on, is they actually protruded out the front fiber optic. So on a fiber optic sight, you have your housing, and then you have the front and the back, which you can see through. Of course, that's how you can actually use it as a sight. Now, this one protrudes just a little bit past that actual housing on it, making it just a little easier to pick up when you're going down sights. If you don't know what I mean, you can look on guns like the CZ Shadow. They actually, on the red front fiber optic sight, they do the same thing. So not comparing this to that, but it's a really good idea, and it is a little bit of a nice touch that they added in there. So moving down just a little bit, you have that wood or walnut stock with a very nice large grip texture here. You're not gonna move, you're not gonna slide your hand on this. The walnut kind of finish is very slick, so adding in these large grooves makes it so that way even when your hands start to get a little sweaty, you're not going to slide off that grip or that forend at all. So they did a really good job about thinking about that, and then the manufacturing and the actual application ended up being nice as well. Beyond that, you also, of course, have this really cool silver finish. Now, they do have a blacked out version, so obviously it would just kind of blend in a little better, but this version, personally, again, personal opinion time, not that you can take this as fact, but this is my favorite color of this. It just looks really, really cool over the black version, but I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of people are gonna love that black version too, just because the Picatinny rail, rear sight, and of course, trigger guard will match, and matching is very important to a lot of people. Moving back just a little bit farther to that Picatinny rail, it is quite small, and it is mounted on a dovetail portion of the shotgun. So if you don't like this and you want something a little more traditional, you can remove that, and you can actually put on whatever you want on that dovetail. You do have an adjustable rear sight, so that ghost ring is actually adjustable, which is always nice, especially if you're actually using this to hunt with, or even to, you know, maybe go shoot some clays with. As we fall down, of course, you have your ejection port here, which operates just exactly as you might expect. And then below that, you have the trigger guard. So the trigger guard is made out of polymer, whereas I do want to mention that everything else so far is either made out of wood or aluminum or steel, depending on where you're at in the shotgun. This is the first polymer portion of this shotgun. The release for the forend is made out of metal and is very solid and reactive. It has no issues at all actuating, and it does make this quite fun to do, and sounds pretty cool. So heading on down to that trigger portion, you do have a little bit of movement here when you pull it, just a little bit more, and then bang. So this is all the movement you're getting right there. It doesn't actuate very far, which is not a problem for a pump action shotgun. And then one more time, a little bit of movement, exactly what you'd expect from a pump-action shotgun. Now, as we head on back to that stock, it is, of course, that walnut furniture, as you mentioned before. It looks really, really good. It brings out the whole aesthetic of the shotgun and really makes it pop. You do have a sling swivel mount on the bottom here, as well as one on the front, right on that buffer tube. I'm sorry, not buffer tube. Right on top, right in front of that magazine. If you can tell, I'm used to reviewing AR-15s. You also have a very thick rubber butt pad. It's not overly squishy. It is squishy, don't get me wrong, but it is very thick. Now, this will help you definitely whenever you are putting rounds down range. It'll help that recoil, of course, because 12 gauge is known for having a pretty good punch of recoil. Now, before I get to the measurements, let's do one more thing. You have a couple of things that come in the box. So right up front here, you have a 5-notched or stroked, or however you want to say it, choke in there. You have 2 more in the box. These are, so you have a 1-notch and a 3-notch choke. So those are the only ones that come in the box. And of course you have your tool to help you get those out or in, depending what you want to do. You're also going to get a sling that does come in the box. Very basic, simple sling, but it is black. That matches the accents on the gun and the butt pad, which is always nice. Now, let's move on to my favorite part of this review. We're going to weigh it. We're going to measure that trigger pull. And we're going to measure the overall gun for you, see if what they claim is actually 38 inches. So let me grab the scale. All right, scale is up on the counter. Let's go ahead and see unloaded how much this bad boy weighs. We are looking at 6.65 pounds. So not a overly heavy shotgun. Definitely had heavier ones up in the 8-pound mark. Also not on the featherweight style. So this definitely pays homage to, or homage, depending on how you want to say it, to the Ithica that did come before it. Now, as cheesy as that was, I genuinely mean that, let's go ahead and measure that trigger pull. 3, 2. So the first reading is 3.74 pounds. One more time. In 3, 2. Next one was 5.16. I was a little higher on the trigger. Sometimes that can affect everything. So let's do it one more time. In 3, 2. 3.01. So we're gonna average that out and call it about a 4-pound trigger right off the gate. And I will say, it does feel like a 4-pound trigger. It's not overly heavy. It's not super light, right in that middle area there, which is nice. So now, I'm gonna grab the tape measure. We're gonna measure, but let me clear off the table first. I'll be right back. All right. Now, let's go ahead. On the website, they claim 38 inches long. We're going to see if that's actually accurate. It is exactly accurate. It is literally right on that 38 mark. So very, very good there. As far as your height goes, we're going to measure the buttstock because that's the widest part of this. You're looking at right at 4.5 inches. And then everything else is going to be right around that 3 to 4.5 mark. So you're 4.5 here. 4.5 here, and then right up front, you're looking at right under 3. So just to give you that measurement for yourself so you can see it, that's the widest part right there, right on that 4.5 inch mark. Now, to wrap it all up, that has been the Tokarev TX3 shotgun. It's a pump action that is modeled after that Ithica. So if you're in the market for something that's unique and you want a pump action shotgun, this is definitely up there on the list. You get upgrades up the wazoo with your fiber optic front, Picatinny rear, and a ghost ring sight with a really nice trigger on it. And of course, those walnut furniture on there. That is also really nice. So if you have any experiences with the Tokarev TX3 of any variant or the Ithica specific one, black or silver, please leave a review down below. I would love to see your comments. I know we all would here at Classic, and I will definitely be down there trying to answer any of those questions that you might have about this. Maybe there's something I missed. I can answer those questions down in the reviews or comments below. So with all of that being said, God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now, I'm gonna go shoot this thing.